Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is the weekly talk. This is going to be a short one. Before jumping into this week's topics, I want to just take a look here at how I finished up on Grand Arena, finishing Division 1 and number 28 overall. It was a pretty near perfect showing. I missed out on 3 feats to come up a little bit short, but it is still my best overall performance. And I think in the future we're going to break down more of my strategies and really more how I'm optimizing my roster in order to maximize my Grand Arena performances. And like I said, this week is going to be short. We're looking at basically 2 topics. We're looking at Chewie and C-3PO, the kit, and my thoughts. I was thinking about maybe doing this video after the marquee event, but I think it might be more interesting to speculate on the kit, give my thoughts, and then see how right or wrong I am about some of these things. Then we're going to wrap up like we always do with gearing my roster. Just a few quick things before moving on to this next week. So very quickly jumping in and taking a look at this kit. It's fairly straightforward. Basically, we have a basic attack. We have a support special. We have a mass attack in the second special with the Zeta. And then we're looking at a unique that has a lot of particulars to it, with most of the complexity in the kit being found here in this unique, which I'm really surprised is not the Zeta, because when you look at this second special, the Zeta, it's looking like is just that stacking offense, which really is the least complicated portion of this kit. So what I like to do is I like to break down these kits into a few keywords to really simplify what these abilities do, so we're not overcomplicating in our own heads what these abilities do, which helps make theory crafting a little bit easier. So the basic is just a straightforward attack. There's an evasion down, but evasion down I don't think is as consequential as a lot of other debuffs. The first special has a lot. We're looking at the self-cleanse, we're looking at the team protection recovery, and we're looking at a team enemy dispel that also blinds them, that is unevadable. So that has a lot of the support abilities. That looks to be a really important and useful special. The second special, like we've been talking about, is this mass attack with the stacking offense if the attack has previously taken out enemies. I'm thinking that might be a luxury Zeta. Like, looking at how the rest of this kit is going, I think the support aspects of this kit are a little bit more powerful, a little bit more interesting, but it's really going to come down to how much damage that second special is doing. If it's really using a lot of damage, and along with some other exposes or other abilities or other debuffs and abilities out there, maybe it's doing enough damage where it is worth that Zeta. But right now, that is definitely a wait and see Zeta for me. Then taking a look at this unique, we're sharing max health, max protection, offense, defense, potency, and tenacity with all these rebel synergies. That's also with a rebel leadership, and if the team is rebels, they're getting 20% plus critical avoidance. Then we're looking at, if the teammate is a rebel, then with every ability use, Threepio and Chewie are assisting. If a rebel ally is defeated, Chewie will get revived along with them if the revive is bringing up an ally instead of Chewie and Threepio. And then we're looking at this final piece of if the enemies are blinded, they're also getting minus 50% tenacity, and I think that has some interesting synergy with a recently released character. So breaking down this kit, it is raising a few questions in my mind and a few thoughts. So it says, it's making me ask, is CLS still the default rebel leader? I suspect he is. And in the event that he is, that means the modding on CLS is going to completely change. It's no longer going to be the current strategy of having low health and protection on CLS so that CLS can get guard from Chewie. I think Chewie's still going to be part of this team with Han. It's still going to probably be CLS, Chewie, Han, and Threepio Chewie. What I think is going to happen is R2 and C-3PO can go elsewhere. Chewie 3PO or ChewPO is going to be a permanent member of this rebel team. It does also, what I think is going to happen is because with R2 having similar abilities as ChewPO, what I think will be happening is the protection and health and the shared benefit of those stats of R2. It's a little redundant. It could become super powerful having R2 there, but I think what we have is now R2 and C-3PO can go to other teams for Grand Arena. ChewPO is doing enough for those shared stats and for those shared support abilities that he is going to be a rebel member. Now, because of the shared stats that we're getting from ChewPO, what's very clear to me is he will be usable at low stars, at lower gear, which is great news, and I'm very happy about, because the stats that he is sharing are the leader stats, not his own, and that is huge. That is what is going to be allowing for ChewPO to be usable at lower requirements. He can go in right away, day one. Those benefits will be there. It'll probably go away with him, so the tankier the better, but those shared stats will still be good enough for a while. It might mean having a tank on that team to make sure that ChewPO can stay in there as long as possible so those stats can be shared to the rest of the team. The last portion here is, I think CARA DUNE has become a little bit more interesting, and that is because of her mass attack, which removes 50% of enemy turn meter, and Empire enemies are stunned for one turn. That's going to have a little bit of synergy with Chewie, where if the enemies are blinded already, they're already losing tenacity. So now we have these blinded enemies with less tenacity, now having a closer to guaranteed stun when CARA DUNE hits them. We've already seen a rework with Vader. The Empire just needs a few more tweaks and they could become a lot more dangerous, and we might end up seeing that fairly soon. And even if we don't see any further developments with the Empire, maybe at least in the short term, we're at least making Rebels be a strong counter, or at least a possible strong counter to Vader with his rework. So like as usual, we are going to jump into the weekly gearing. The one note from not having done one of these videos last week, because there just wasn't too much going on in the game, I did bring C-3PO from Gear 11 to Gear 12. For this week, I don't have too many specific goals when it comes to which characters I want to gear up. For the past several weeks, I've just been hoarding gear. What I do think I'm definitely going to do is finally bring my nest from Gear 11 to Gear 12. Let me show you where my carbs are and my stun guns. We've been just hoarding as many of those as possible. Before CARA DUNE and Grief and Mandalorian became farmable, I was just farming Carbantes with my basic energy. And now I'm going to use those here to finally take care of this long delayed project. Just because Nest is pretty decent, at least on offense at gear 11. We'll take a look at this stuff on my own time, or once I have a more specific plan. I don't think I'm going to gear up Wampa yet, just because I don't want to give a lot of these other pieces. But I think I am just going to take these stun cuffs and put them on. Just kind of doing all this stuff at once is just so painful to me. And just taking a couple of these things off the board, like I think I'm going to take one Carbante off the board and put it on him. So now it's only a 50 stun gun cost and 100 card cost to bring him up to the next level when I'm ready to do it. I don't want to diminish those other stockpile too much. You can see that I've been hitting Grief Karga and the Mandalorian really hard. Karga I'm going for a little bit faster. I think he's a little bit more important to have at higher gear and higher star count sooner. As long as you can keep people off of Mandalorian, he's going to be okay, especially because he gets that one free revive. Karga, though, I want him to be around for as long as possible. I think I will bring him up one more level. I'm just slowly working on him, and I am going to put on the Sweeten the Deal Zeta. We'll see how easy or hard this is for now. Oops. Oh, that's easy. We'll do that as well. Just a stun gun. We're gonna do it. This is a massive improvement on Karga. We'll probably be stopping here. Put on the health. We'll add the eyeball. We're just looking at 100 stun cuffs. And you know what? We're right there. We're taking him up to 11. Once you get past that gear 8 bump, this wasn't too bad of a gear. Do it. The health is nice. Alright, we'll leave him there for now. We're not going to do the other Zeta. That finishes off Karga, at least in terms of gearing, for a long while. Oh, CARA DUNE, I do have ready to star up at least one spot. Down here all the way at the bottom. So the reason she's at 3 stars while Mandalorian and Karga were already at 4 is because I used my Crystal Horde on Mandalorian packs to get him up to 4 stars, and Grief Karga I bought with Crystal Shipments to get him up to 4 stars. Even though this was like a 1 week farm, hitting CARA DUNE hard. We'll put on the HoloLenses, get her up one more level. Usually the Omegas I hold off until they're ready to be used on the regular. I'm probably on the HoloLens. Yeah, we're not touching those. But because I do think I might want to take a look at her kit a little bit more. Actually, those Omegas aren't that good. Just damage increases. And a crit chance increase. Yeah, until she's at gear 11 minimum and at 7 stars, those damage increases just are not going to matter. So those Omegas stay off. I do want to put the Omegas on Kira. I've been using her a lot on Grand Arena and defense. I went back to that old Kira Smugglers team instead of using the Kira Old Republic Scoundrels team. Instead of using Old Republic or using Kira, just going back to that old timeout team. I just found a little bit more benefit in that. Most players, at least ones that I'm going up against, they don't see that often, or they haven't seen it in a while. So the unfamiliarity is helpful. Using that Old Republic team that everyone has been seeing and everyone has their default counters to Old Republic, it's just not useful to be throwing that on defense. Yeah, I just use so many carbs. I don't want to go below that 200 carb threshold. I will throw on these HoloLenses. You know what, I'm going to throw that on. I've been using him a lot and he's been good. I've got plenty of these. I'm going to throw them on to Finn. You know, we've got a week off. I'm gonna keep saving gear now that I've used up a bunch, and then I'll throw that last stun gun on during next week's gearing video before signing up for Grand Arena. Mando. You know what, we're going to throw this piece on. That's not a difference maker, but we'll make the incremental progress. There's one last thing we will do before ending this video. Is we've got a bunch of these characters for Jedi Knight Skywalker. That I think these might just be HoloLenses. And then we got a carb and HoloLens. We're going to just put on these HoloLenses. Another 2 HoloLenses for Leia. The carbs we're going to leave off. I think Lando is that furnace that uses the HoloLens. Yeah, we'll throw that on. Bring Lando up a level. Lando's an easy gear. I wonder how far we're going to be able to take him right now. We'll throw on the scanner. Yeah, stun cuff. Another furnace. No, we're going to bring him to 11. Where are my cuffs at? Yeah, we'll leave most of this off. Because we're not going to be using him until he is relicked. So Lando can hang out where he's at. He's now at 11, so we were able to take 2 characters up to gear 11. We are going to wrap up this week's video here. Thank you very much for watching this one. We'll see how my thoughts and predictions on Chewie and Threepio go. That kind of boils down to CARA DUNE, I think, has a potential to synergize nicely with that team. CLS probably still the go-to leader. His modding is going to change because of this. R2 and C3PO, they can go to Galactic Republic and Resistance. And that Zeta, I think, can be held off on until there's more to be seen, or at least until he's at higher levels, because I think Chewie and Threepio can be used at low gear. At least, especially with a tank like Old Ben there to take a lot of the hits off of him. And maybe having a revive there, so if Chewie's going down, you can be constantly bringing Chewie back, will be a good way to go. So some of those thoughts, like Arnold was saying with Captain Han Solo, might start making a lot of sense if you have him ready to go for that team. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. Be safe out there, everyone, and be excellent to each other.